In response to the nonsense of the U.S. president and his repeated threats to destroy Iran's bridges, power plants, and electricity and energy infrastructure, we once again issue a warning. If these threats are carried out, the powerful armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will.
Did Donald Trump's threat to smash Iran's power plants just backfire, triggering a far more dangerous phase of the war as Tehran answers with a chilling new warning? Is the Middle East now staring at the risk of a regional blackout, with oil fields, power stations, and industrial hubs in the crosshairs as Iran and the United States trade ever more deadly blows? The strike on the Karaj Bridge has become a dangerous turning point in this conflict, signaling that what began as targeted attacks is now spiraling into a full-scale war on infrastructure. Trump's gamble to threaten Iran's bridges and energy lifelines could end up leaving the entire Gulf in tatters, dragging US partners into a storm they cannot easily escape. Iran has issued a stern and unmistakable warning to US President Donald Trump, making it clear that any move to bomb its power plants will trigger a fierce response far beyond what Washington is publicly prepared for. According to the IRGC, if Iran's energy infrastructure is hit, it will respond by targeting even more extensive parts of Israel and the United States' regional allies, striking deeper into capitals, economic hubs, and strategic facilities. The IRGC says it has already expanded the scope of its retaliation, moving beyond fuel depots, economic centers, and power plants to include broader, more vital infrastructure that underpins the entire regional economy.
In response to the nonsense of the U.S. president and his repeated threats to destroy Iran's bridges, power plants, and electricity and energy infrastructure, we once again issue a warning. If these threats are carried out, the powerful armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, in addition to placing all assets of the Zionist regime in the United States under strike in the fields of hard military power, energy, economic centers, and power plants in the region and the occupied territories, will target far more important and wider sections of their capital than that of the host countries and allies of America, and the regime with even harsher and more crushing blows. The countries hosting U.S. military bases in the region, if they wish to avoid damage, must definitely force the Americans to leave their territories.
Iran's latest threat came directly in response to Trump's warning that the US would escalate from hitting bridges to striking Iran's power plants, turning the energy grid itself into the next battlefield of this war. Iran is now flagging a possible bridge war after US-Israeli strike on its key Karaj link sparked fresh fears of regional retaliation. On April 2nd, Iranian state outlets published a list of major regional bridges, openly labeling them as potential future strike targets. Fast News went further, listing big bridges across the Gulf and Levant as tit-for-tat options if Iran decides to mirror the Karaj attack. Kuwait's Sheikh Jabbar Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah Sea Bridge, a flagship megaproject, was singled out as one of those potential targets. Saudi Arabia's King Fahd Causeway to Bahrain, vital for trade and commuters, was also flagged as a possible retaliation site. In the UAE, Abu Dhabi Sheikh Zayed, Al Maktoum, and Sheikh Khalifa bridges were all named, placing core capital links under rhetorical threat. Jordan's King Hussein, Damaya, and Abdown bridges were likewise highlighted, suggesting Levantine crossings could also be pulled into the standoff. All of this came just hours after US-Israeli strikes destroyed Iran's newly built B1 bridge in Karaj, turning a prestige project into rubble. On April 2nd, US and Israeli forces reportedly hit the B1 bridge twice, killing civilians on the road and bringing down key sections of the span. The attack targeted a roughly 1,000-meter link that helps connect Tehran to Iran's northern provinces via Karaj. Footage from the scene showed major sections of the newly built bridge collapsing in clouds of dust after the strikes. Until now, the B1 bridge had been hailed as a flagship modern project meant to ease crushing traffic between Tehran and Karaj. It was scheduled to fully open this year, smoothing the capital's road link to key northern provinces and tourist routes. Iranian officials say 8 people were killed and at least 95 wounded in the bombardment, many of them ordinary commuters. Donald Trump quickly boasted that Iran's tallest bridge had been destroyed in a US strike, framing it as a major show of force. On his social platform, he shared video of the B1 airstrike and personally hailed the collapse of the structure. He went on to warn that bridges next, then electric power plants across Iran could be targeted if Tehran does not back down. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi countered that strikes on civilian infrastructure only show defeat and disarray in US-Israeli strategy. Arachi said, and I quote, "Striking civilian structures, including unfinished bridges, will not compel Iranians to surrender. It only conveys the defeat and moral collapse of an enemy in disarray. Every bridge and building will be built back stronger. What will never recover? Damage to America's standing." Unquote. Tehran has already answered with drones and missiles aimed at Israel and US-linked sites around the region, signaling that retaliation is underway. The IRGC now claims it has hit targets in Jordan, Iraq, and several Gulf states that host US assets, tying the bridge war rhetoric to a wider map of pressure.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.